In half an hour, EastEnders. But first, here's Matthew Wright with a special edition of Inside Out London.
For many British men with family roots in the Asian subcontinent, it's not that uncommon to head overseas for an arranged marriage. But what happens when those relationships don't work out? Well, the consequences for the brides cast off by their British husbands can be devastating. Many will be shunned by their own communities, others could be subject to financial exploitation, domestic slavery, even physical abuse. In this special programme, Chris Rogers meets outcast wives who open up for the first time about their painful experiences and how they're trying to build new lives for themselves here in London. He also travels to India to uncover the shocking scale of the problem.
मेरा दिल करदा सी कि सब कुछ छड़ के मैं मर जावां। ਇਹ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਨਰਕ ਸੀਗੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਾਹ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾਗਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਮਾਰਨਾ ਕੁੱਟਣਾ ਮੈਂ ਅੰਦਰ ਵੜ ਕੇ ਰੋਣਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਐ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲਾਈਫ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਲੈਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ।
You know, a day had come in my life where you really feel that you want to end this now. Sorry.
Breaking the wall of silence, the wives separated from their husbands, shunned by their communities, and treated as tainted goods.
The moment their daughter is being left by her husband, her status becomes zero, nil.
The impact for women who are left, who have been abandoned, is quite devastating. It's leaving them almost in chains within their society.
With thousands of brides branded as outcasts, we reveal the injustices and indignities many of them encounter.
They marry us, they bring us over, then they treat us like a dirty rag.
Ritu has just arrived from India. She's embarking on an extraordinary personal mission to find her estranged husband.
I'm feeling a bit nervous, a bit emotional, because I've not seen that person since 1.5 years. I don't know how he will react when he sees me.
She's used up all her savings and put her teaching career on hold to come to London and get out of a marriage in which she feels abandoned.
I felt betrayed. I felt that my whole world has got disturbed or shaken and shattered. The wedding was very, very beautiful. When the ceremony starts, there are a lot of people coming in, giving you their blessings.
As you're posing for those photos, what's going through your mind?
You're happy, of course, that the day has come in your life when you got your life partner. You're going to spend the life with him, and it really feels, I mean, you feel contained inside.
In fact, Ritu barely knew her groom. It was an arranged marriage, and before exchanging vows, she'd only ever met him for one single hour. So tell me about the first time you laid eyes on Vikram. How did you feel? How did you find him?
In India, the arranged marriage is a very common concept. Vikram had come to my place prior, the marriage was finalized prior 1 week, and it was just a normal chat. I mean, what's your likes and your dislikes, what your dreams of life, and what he's been doing in London. You're meeting a stranger for the first time, and he's going to be a husband. So at the back of the mind, you're nervous, you're excited, you're attracted towards him.
Ritu insists she did not feel pressured into the marriage, but the wedding took place just 48 hours after they had met.
We literally had one day. Me and my family and my relatives had to prepare the wedding as much as we could, and we arranged everything, the temple where you were to get married, the dinner after the wedding, and everything.
The wedding night, was it what you hoped?
It didn't go well, to be frank. Vikram had a flight early in the morning, so he left in the midnight. So we not even spent a night together.
After returning to the UK, he assured Ritu that he would arrange for her to join him. But within 4 months, the relationship became strained, and Ritu's visa application, which required her husband's support, was never completed. She now wants a divorce, but in India it is extremely difficult to divorce an absent spouse. She feels trapped in a meaningless marriage to a man she barely knows and might never meet again.
Sometimes you have to really curse myself that why did I take the decision? I could have taken some time. I could have asked him not to get married so soon. You know, a day had come in my life where you really feel that you want to end this now. Sorry.
There are believed to be tens of thousands of women left in limbo like Ritu. Many are brides from India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, who claim they've been cast aside, abandoned by their British husbands. For many of these wives, abandonment is just the final incident in a relationship that's characterised with abuse and deceit from even before the wedding. Throughout their marriage, many of these women are exploited for financial gain. Some are forced into domestic slavery. Others are even duped into giving up their children.
We're looking at thousands of women, so this is not an insignificant number. And we're only beginning to touch and scratch the surface, if you like, of this problem. But what we see is a continuum of domestic violence that they've been subjected to: physical, sexual, financial, emotional abuse. And the end process is often abandonment.
मैं सुबह से 5 बजे से उठ के सारा दिन काम करना, फिर भी उन लोगों ने मेरे साथ ऐसा व्यवहार करते थे, इतना करते सी कि जिद्दां मैं एक जानवर हूं, इस घर दा हिस्सा ही नहीं हुंदी गी। हर टाइम बस काम काम काम। मेरी तो मैनूं इदां लगदा ही नहीं सी कि मेरी कोई वैल्यू भी है उस घर दे विच। सिर्फ मैनूं इदां लगदा सी कि मैं सिर्फ इत्थे काम कराउण नूं लैके आए आ, मैनूं जिद्दां कि मैं सिर्फ इत्थे काम करन नूं आई आ, जां इन्हां दे बच्चे जम के बस इन्हां नूं देने आ।
Kulwant was brought to the UK from India by her British national husband 4 years ago. She says that as well as being treated as a domestic slave, her husband subjected her to violence every day.
मेरा दिल करदा सी कि सब कुछ छड़ के मैं मर जावां। ਇਹ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਨਰਕ ਸੀਗੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ, ਨਰਕ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼। ਘੁੱਟਣ ਮੀਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਮੇਰੇ ਦਮ ਘੁੱਟਦਾ ਸੀ ਉੱਥੇ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਾਹ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾਗਾ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਬਸ ਹੁਣ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਮਾਰਨਾ ਕੁੱਟਣਾ, ਮੈਂ ਅੰਦਰ ਵੜ ਕੇ ਰੋਣਾ, ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਐਂ ਲੱਗਣਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲਾਈਫ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਲੈਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ। ਇਹ ਲਾਈਫ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੇਰੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਥਿੰਕ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੀ ਕੋਈ ਹੈਲਪ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ, ਨਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ। और मेरी लाइफ सिर्फ यही घुटन भरी जिंदगी बन के रह जानी आ। हर रोज मरदी सी मैं, हर रोज।
In desperation, Kulwant says she eventually picked up a son and ran away. That was 18 months ago, and ever since her husband has refused any contact with her.
सब कुछ फिनिश हो गया है, उन लोगों ने छोड़ दिया है मुझे, अब मुझे कभी नहीं लेने आएंगे, ना मुझसे बात करेंगे।
Along with her son, Kulwant now lives in temporary accommodation, and with the help of a charity, she's trying to rebuild her life. I've travelled from London to Punjab in the north of India. It's the same journey that every year hundreds of Indian British nationals make looking for a wife. At a secret location in Chandigarh, the capital of Punjab, a special meeting has been held for women. Most of the women here are married to men from abroad, and according to the head of the charity who organised this event, many have something else in common. Their husbands have deserted them.
More and more girls are in such a big mess. I've seen a lot of beautiful educated women, they are in a mess. Generally it's a 15 cases a month.
And it's increasing, would you say?
It's increasing.
In this region alone, the local authority estimates there are well over 15,000 abandoned wives. Their husbands come from all over the world, but British men are thought to account for over 1/3 of these cases. And for many of these grooms, the motivation is not love, it's money.
Usually it's like this. He comes here and he asks for a massive money in a dowry, and they marry. The girl's parents give dowry. He took the money, he enjoy his honeymoon marriage, and then he never come back.
Despite being outlawed since 1961, in India it is customary for the bride's family to give money or gifts to the groom prior to the wedding ceremony. These dowries often amount to tens of thousands of pounds, and it doesn't end there.
A lot of women say that well after the marriage, dowry demands continue, and ultimately, when they cannot meet dowry demands, they are abandoned.
In a rural village on the outskirts of Punjab, Kalmajit married a man from Europe 3 years ago. To pay for the dowry and the wedding, her father scraped together almost all of his life savings.
12 फरवरी 2014 में मैरिज हुई हमारी. मेरे घर वालों को अच्छा था, उन्हें भी हमें पसंद थी, हम भी उन्हें कहते अच्छी है, उम्र भी घट है, ठीक है, सब कुछ सही है, मैंने तो लड़की चाहिए, मैंने और कुछ नहीं चाहिए.
Within days of accepting his hand in marriage, Kalmajit says her husband started complaining about the dowry.
जब शादी हो गई दूसरे दिन हमारे ससुराल पेके आए, वो सामान लेकर आए सारा, तो कहने लगा कि दाज बहुत कम दिया है. मैं कहा भाई आपने पहले ऐसे बोलना था ना, कि आप मुझे बोल रहे हो जब आपने मुझे देखा था, उसी दिन में बोल देते कि हमें दाज चाहिए, हमें गाड़ी चाहिए.
Eventually, says Kalmajit, her husband abandoned her and returned to Italy. She claims he left her even though she was pregnant.
2 दिसंबर 2014 में मेरी बेटी पैदा हो गई, पर वो भी अपंग पैदा हुई, बहुत ज़्यादा उसकी बाँह भी प्रॉब्लम थी, लैट्रिन वाला रास्ता बंद था, हार्ट दी प्रॉब्लम, किडनी दी प्रॉब्लम. तीसरे दिन जो मेरी सास और मेरी ननंद, मेरा देवर उस बच्ची को देखने आए. बच्ची अपंग पैदा हुई, जैसे मर्जी पालो इसको, चाहे जो मर्जी इसका करो, हमें इसका कुछ नहीं करना है, ना हमारा बेटा कुछ करेगा इसके लिए, ना तुम्हारे लिए, कि हमारा तुम्हारे साथ लिंक ही टूट गया है.
Just a few weeks later, Kalmajit's daughter died. But even then, she says her husband did not contact her.
मैं तो चाहती हूँ कि वो अच्छा इंसान बन जाए, अभी भी उसे एक मौका देती हूँ, जो अगर वो समझता है तो. अगर वैसे जो नहीं समझा तो फिर तो वो उनकी मर्जी है, पर मैं नहीं चाहती कि मेरा उनसे तलाक हो.
Many women, like Kalmajit, still desperately hope to revive marriages with husbands who have left them, because the alternative carries a heavy stigma. Life as an abandoned woman in India means living as an outcast wife.
The impact for women who have been abandoned is quite devastating, because it can affect her job prospects, it can affect the way the community view her, the way they view their families as well. It can affect, if she has children, how the children are perceived and how the children are raised. And if you come from very poor environments and poor families, then actually what that's doing is adding additional pressure to the family and additional sort of reputational risk.
She feels that she has no value, and society makes it sure that she has no value. The problem is that serious. It could lead to a suicidal attempt, and there have been hundreds of examples where parents have committed suicide.
The dishonour of being branded as an abandoned wife is one of the factors that propelled Ritu to come to London in search of her husband.
If I talk about back in India, it becomes very difficult to come out of the situation. You kind of stand still, you don't know where to go, what to do, and how the things will work. First of all, it is a very bad name, that is the way the people look at you. You feel so shameful that you have been betrayed, you have been left out from your husband. You just don't want this part of your life now.
10 days after arriving in London, Ritu's had no success in tracking down her husband. So she's come to a women's group, seeking advice and support.
So basically, the way I sum it up, he doesn't want to know you. You literally just want to end the relationship. You are trying to find a reason behind it. But at the end of the day, you can't go back, you can't move forward, you're sort of stuck in limbo. And that's a very horrible position to be, yeah.
And I think you cannot ever get answers to the questions you're looking for. Okay. Because from what you said, you can't expect any sanity from him.
If she finds him, Ritu wants to ask her husband for a divorce. But most wives left in India never get the opportunity to do this. UK immigration rules prohibit them from entering the country.
She'll have problems in serving him in England because she can't come in as a visitor because she has to disclose she has a husband and she'd been married to a British national. And once she discloses that, she will be asked, why aren't you applying for a spousal visa? And a spousal visa needs her husband's support, so she's caught in a catch-22.
Unable to obtain a divorce via the British courts, abandoned wives must turn to the Indian judicial system. Today, like every day in Chandigarh, the legal office that deals with marital issues is busy.
29. 29 years the age.
Some of the women and families here are desperately seeking help to advance criminal and divorce proceedings against absent husbands.
After wedding, when I arrived London.
What happened?
He said, I don't love you, I just like you. अपने पेरेंट्स के कहने दे उत्ते उन्हें मेरे नाल मैरिज कीती है बस इस तरह मैंने पता लगा कि मैंने डिश करके चले गए ने आफ्टर 1 वीक इंडिया दे विच मैंने 1 साल हो गया वा FIR दर्ज हो गई आ पुलिस मैं भी आज मैं मतलब कि क्राइम उस पर्सन ने कीता वा डिच उस पर्सन ने कीता वा पर तरीका मैं भुगतन दी इत्थे आन के
Getting a divorce from a spouse who lives abroad is a complex, expensive process in India. Some of the parents here have been trying to get a resolution for their abandoned daughters for years.
ਇਹ 1997 ਚ ਮੈਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਕੀਤਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਲੜਕੀ ਦਾ ਇੱਕੋ ਮੇਰੀ ਲੜਕੀ ਸੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਹੈਸੀਅਤ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਣੀ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਦਾਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਵੱਧ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਦੱਸ ਗਿਆ ਵੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਧਰ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਾਇਆ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਲੜਕਾ ਇੱਕ ਲੜਕੀ ਆ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕੁੜੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੁਝ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੇਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਜੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ 16 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਇਹ ਚੱਕਰ 'ਚ ਪਏ ਨੇ
Our legal system is little bit slow. It will take years and years to get the decision. There are a number of difficulties, number of hurdles on each and every step, and moreover these girls don't have the payment to pay for the legal system, even to go from one station to the other for the documentation, and there is no direct legal system is available where she can apply, as in the domestic marriages, if it fails.
Abandoned wives are not only at the mercy of the courts when it comes to obtaining a divorce, many face legal difficulties if their husbands take their children. Six years ago, Sonali got married in Pakistan. Her husband, a British national, arranged for her to come and live with him and her in-laws in London.
I came here when I was 7 months pregnant. I was thinking everything will be fine and everything, like my life will be better, like but they treated me like a slave or like a servant in their house, and they never allowed me to go outside.
Shortly after she had given birth, Sonali says her husband suggested a family holiday back in Pakistan to help her recover. On their second night abroad, he was out with friends and phoned her with a strange demand.
My husband called me first and he said like, I'm coming to pick up my son because a few relatives are coming from Karachi, like the city in Pakistan, and they need to see him. He just took my son from me, and I don't know why I was feeling scared that time. I don't know why I was feeling like I called him again and again, but suddenly his phone was switched off.
Eventually, Sonali realised her husband had been deceiving her all along. He had taken her 3-month-old baby and left the country.
I was thinking there is no reason to live because I cry every day, every other minute. And most of the time I start talking with his clothes. When I went to sleep in the night, I put his clothes with my pillow, and no one take him because he is my son and he is sleeping here. And my mother is like, no, he is not your son, he is just his clothes.
Abandoned in Pakistan, Sonali had no clue how she would access legal help to get her son back, until she came across the website of a UK-based charity.
If there are children involved, there are some legal remedies available. Not easy, but there are. Fortunately, that is a situation where the judiciary have woken up to, and there has been case law developments that allow women, even if they're abandoned abroad, to engage in proceedings here by returning.
Southall Black Sisters secured a specialist family lawyer who made the child a ward of court and arranged for Sonali to return to the UK, where her case was heard in the High Court.
The High Court said because it's a British national child and the best interests of the child are paramount, that the full force of the law should and could be used so that the child could be reunited with its mother, and the husband was in effect ordered to support her immigration application to allow her to come back to the UK.
Sonali has been granted indefinite leave to remain in the UK under the Domestic Violence Act. It means she will not have to return to Pakistan, where abandoned wives and their children are often persecuted. Six weeks on, and Ritu has still not found her husband. Her time in London is running out, but she's found a charity that have agreed to offer her some general advice.
And have you had any contact with him?
No, I've not spoken to him yet because I also need to find his whereabouts, like where he's been staying and stuff. So up to now, I have not been spoken to him.
Did you know what legal rights you had before you arrived in England?
No, I didn't know anything about it, and the main reason is I wanted to know that how far I can go in London, and will there be a closure to the relationship? Will it move a bit quicker in London? So that was the main reason to come here.
Okay, so in an ideal world, what possible outcome would you like from these discussions and these proceedings?
You cannot force anyone to love you, and I really feel that if he doesn't want it, then we can come to a closure and move ahead. That is what I want right now to happen, and that's the reason I'm here.
What we tend to do when we work with clients is we create what we call a positive action plan. So we sit down and we say, right, this is where you are and this is where you want to be. How can we help you to get there?
I appreciate that you're doing it, because at this point I feel so isolated and really want someone to talk to just tell them that what I'm going through right now, because I feel that the emotions that is going in this process is too much to carry on.
There are only a handful of charities that specifically support women in Ritu's situation. They have recently been overwhelmed with new cases, triggering calls for more systematic help from governments and legal agencies across the globe.
What we want to see is a better harmonisation of laws so that a woman can be granted a divorce in one country, have it recognised in another. A woman can be granted a maintenance order and have it recognised in another. But also that governments and state agencies cooperate so that if a woman is being denied her rights by sending her to another country, she's not just stuck in some kind of international limbo.
Where a spousal visa is issued, we would wish to see a system where the Home Office is proactive at the end of the 2-year period, if she hasn't made an application for indefinite leave to remain, to take some steps to find her and ask her, why haven't you applied? Are you still in the UK? And if you're not still in the UK, why not? At least so she may become aware of her rights.
Ritu has finally found an address for her estranged husband. She decides that she wants to go there today.
I don't know how Vikram will react to it, or I don't know how I will hold my emotions. I just want to know that why my husband has abandoned me from this marriage and why did he not let go the relationship. So I hope I will get my answers today.
This is the first time Ritu will see her husband in over 18 months, and due to the sensitivity of the situation, we chose not to film.
It was really sad that Vikram didn't even recognize me, or he doesn't want to answer any of my questions.
In fact, the meeting was tense, and her husband called the police.
I spoke to police. They said that you need to go to India and get this sorted. Now, if the police is not helping me, where will I go? I was expecting so that will be worth to come here, but I don't think so it was worth enough, because if I go back to India, again I know he will never turn, Vikram will never come to India to divorce me. So I don't know when this will end.
Ritu's husband denied all of her claims. There are no second chances for her to speak to him in the UK. Her flight back to India leaves tomorrow, and she cannot afford to return. Unable to secure a divorce from their British husbands, many South Asian wives resign themselves to a life of injustice. A life where their chances of meeting another partner or having any level of respect within their communities are diminished. Meanwhile, their British husbands don't face such cultural barriers. They're free to continue their lives as they wish. Ritu is leaving London. She is departing without securing a divorce, but with hope and faith that she'll be able to move forward with her life.
When I was getting the blessings, you feel the inner strength in you, and you feel so positive, that vibrations around you, and you just think that yes, things are going to work now. And I hope with the grace of God, I just get what I want.
Chris Rogers there. And if you'd like details of any of the organisations featured in that report, then head to our website. I'll give you the address in just a moment. But first, let's take a quick look at what's coming up on next week's programme. How much pollution does your daily routine expose you to?
It is something that worries us. We're bringing up children here. It's a wonderful place to be, but are we harming them?
We offer top tips on how to cut it down. We find out how one amateur filmmaker captures the capital's most elusive wildlife.
It was a way of getting out to the hares silently. If you do it slowly, all of a sudden you can be within 20 feet of them.
And you're down at their level.
It's all about eye level. You get the best shots at that, really.
And we go in search of London's lost ghost signs.
This sign was painted in the mid-1920s. It's got a lot of elements to it. It's got some beautiful lettering. In a sense, they're just still whispering quietly away, and we're allowed to hear that if we take the time to look and listen.
And that's all from this week's Inside Out London. If you missed any of tonight's show though, and you'd like to catch up on the iPlayer, or you'd like more information about any of the organisations featured in tonight's programme, then head to our website. The address is bbc.co.uk/insideout, and then just click on London. Thanks very much for watching. See you again next week.
Hello, I'm Riz Latif with your 90-second update. It's been described as the worst blunder in Oscars history when the wrong winner for Best Film was announced. The stars of La La Land were accepting the award when they were told it was actually Moonlight that had won. There's a warning that insuring your car could cost a lot more because of new rules. The changes mean higher compensation payouts, but insurers say in return premiums will rise. 2.5 years after it was set up, the independent inquiry into child sex abuse has begun its first public hearings. Today its focus was the abuse of children sent to Australia after the Second World War. A man's been convicted of breaking into Simon Cowell's home and stealing almost £1 million worth of jewellery. The music mogul and his family were asleep at the time. And Leicester fans have been arriving to see their team in action tonight. It's the first time since the controversial sacking of manager Claudio Ranieri. More on that at 10. Now, the latest in London, 2 Met policemen who stopped off at a McDonald's before responding to an emergency call are set to keep their jobs. The officers have admitted misconduct at a disciplinary hearing. How much does your dog mean to you? This woman spent £80,000 on a legal fight to let her dog live in her flat where pets are banned. Today, she lost her battle. Tomorrow's weather, a drier, brighter morning, but keep the brolly handy as it could be a rainy afternoon. Temperatures 9 Celsius at best.
Ease has made her views on the community well known. Now they want a word with her. EastEnders is next.
I am more than just the beard or the nation's favourite dish. There's 4 million different ways to understand what British Asian is. I am culture and tradition mixed with fish and chips and visions of 5 rivers. This a modern day collision. That's just how we're living. I could be a boxing champ and build your computer. We are everything the past has made us, and we are the future. We found a place to call our own. Not one city, not one town. You know what British Asian looks like. This is how it sounds.
I've got enemies everywhere. I've got enemies in South Cerney. I've got enemies in North Cerney. I've got enemies in Cerney Wick. I've got enemies in Bourton on the Water.
I've known Kerry and Curtin on and off for 12 years now. They're great kids, really.
When I put 50p in the hitbox to play pub quiz, I don't want your clammy fingers reaching over, jabbing the screen, Mel C, when the question clearly states which of the following is not a Spice Girl.
BBC Three's This Country, available now on BBC iPlayer.
So, like, you get sponsored to swap clothes with somebody else for a day?
Yeah. Okay, I don't get that.
So, like, maybe...
I don't get it.
So maybe you wear, like, your mother's clothes?
Cool.
Yeah, finally. What?
I don't get it. What does she wear?
No, like, she wears someone else's.
Cool, yeah.
No, she's...
Okay, I don't get that. It's too complicated. Do another one.
So, like, you get sponsored to let people lick stuff off you for a day.
Ew.
No, but, like, you get, like, these flavoured...
Yeah, cool, yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Peanut butter.
Do another one.
For better ideas, get your free fundraising kit now.